Hi there, and welcome to the Player YouTube channel, where, amongst other things, we do car reviews, but not car reviews as you're probably used to them, because on this channel we don't talk about scratchy plastics, we don't talk about fake vents, we definitely don't have any sticks of truth, and one thing's for sure, I'm not going to tell you how many bottles I can get in my door bins. So rest assured, what I give you is straight up. It's exactly how we see it and how I feel about the product. And the idea behind that is that you get an opportunity to evaluate our review and decide if you want to go down to the showroom of that particular car brand and get a test drive in the car that we have reviewed. That's the idea. Whether it works or not, well, that's over to you at the end of the day. Today's car, believe it or not, is a Toyota. It's not any old Toyota either. It's a bit of a, well, I almost said renegade there. That's probably not the right word, but it is. It's a car that was designed for the American public. And fortunately for us, and I say fortunately because I've become a little bit affectionate about this car, fortunately for us, we now have it over here. It is none other than the Toyota Highlander. And it's a pretty big car to throw around, especially on country lanes like this or B roads when you've got other cars coming towards you and the roads are very narrow, because this is not only almost 5 meters long, it's almost, well, it is 2 meters wide. That's a pretty big car to throw around the green lanes, as we call them over here. However, in order for me to give you a decent review and an evaluation, we will take this car back to Player HQ, get around it, get under the bonnet, get in the back, and we'll let you know exactly what we think of the Toyota Highlander. First things first, you've got to agree, it's absolutely massive. This car is over, well, it's almost 5 meters long and over 2 meters wide. Absolutely colossal. And the reason for that was because this car wasn't really intended for the UK market. However, we're now lucky in the fact that we can get our grubby little mitts on one of these, and at a reasonable price as well. There are two trim levels. You've got an XL and an XL Premium. Now the XL will cost you around £51,650 on its entry level. And if you want to go to the XL Premium with all the extra bits and pieces, it will only cost you £53,500. So for an extra £2,000, I think it's a bit of a no-brainer, because after we've gone all around it and I've showed you all the extra bits and pieces that this car gets, you'll say, well, what's the point in having the entry-level car? We might as well go for the Premium. This car comes in 7 different colours. This is a lovely metallic silver. It's no extra for the metallics. However, if you want Tokyo red or the pearl white, you will have to pay an extra £950. One thing it does come with, all 4 of them, are these wheels. Colossal 20-inch alloys that it gets as well. I love also the size of these wing mirrors. Everything on this car is just big, 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 big. And round the front here, you get LED running lights, LED lights, LED fog lights. This car is very, very premium. Let's take a look under the bonnet and see what the engine choices are. Bonnet release catch down here in the driver's footwell. It's a single pull, just like that. Don't forget, if you're driving a left-hand drive version of this vehicle, it'd be in the passenger footwell, because they're not going to swap it around. So simple as. If you want to put the bonnet up, it's even simpler actually. If you put your hand in there, just directly above your badge there, and just slide to the left, you'll find the little catch there. There are no gas struts on this, and it is quite a heavy bonnet, so do bear that in mind when you're pushing this up. Put your bonnet stay in there, nice and safe, and then we have it. So basically what we've got is a 2.5 litre 4-cylinder petrol engine, married up to a couple of electric motors which use a KERS recovery system, because this is a hybrid, a full hybrid. It's not a plug-in hybrid. Now, before I go any further, you know the difference. Most of you do by now. I'll give you a quick explanation. PHEV means plug-in hybrid electric vehicle. That's the one where you plug it in every now and then, you get up to about 40 miles of range on a bit of a battery that you get with it. However, this one charges itself as it goes along. As you can probably hear, I can just hear the motor disengaging there because I've just been moving the car around. And what you also get, the fact you get 2 motors, one at the front, one at the back, over the rear axle and the front axle, is all-wheel drive. So not only you've got a full hybrid that's recharging itself, you've got an all-wheel drive system that is working in this car absolutely seamlessly with a 2.5 litre petrol engine, which is all very nice. Develops around about 248 brake horsepower. Will give you a 0 to 60 time in 8.3 seconds and a top speed of 111 miles an hour, which for a car this size isn't bad at all. But the majority of the time, I think you're going to be sat on motorways, you know, you're going to be doing around about 70, 80 miles an hour maximum, keep within the speed limit, and this car will just motor on for hours. If you do get held up in traffic, then your electric motors kick in and you run on battery power, which is going to save you and give you a lot better economy on a car of this size. Now, there are a few bits and pieces that are a bit of a drawback with this car. One, there is no other choice of setup. So there's no diesel option, you know, there's no sort of non-hybrid option. That is your option. The other thing is this car doesn't actually have a gearbox as such. It's called a CVT. Now, that means it's continuous variable transmission. And what it is basically it's a gearless system with a rubber belt that changes shape, and so basically you end up with like infinite number of gears. But the one thing it does is makes a terrible sound when you're actually driving down the road, and I'll show you that when we get the car out on the road. Toyota have had this system for a number of years, and I don't understand why they haven't updated it to something a little bit more modern. There must be reasons behind it. Anyway, that's the way it is, and that is your only choice. It's that CVT gearbox, unfortunately. All in all, though, it's a pretty economical system. It's, you know, it'll get you using the hybrid battery. You can run around town, you can pop down the shops as long as you're under 30 miles an hour, and that will continually work for you because it's constantly recharging itself. So it's not a bad setup. So first up, I think you've got to admit, it is massive. It's over 2 meters wide. I mean, that is absolutely huge. But I do love the shape and the styling of this car. There's a lot of effort gone into this, not only with the shape and the styling, but also with the aerodynamics. When you look at this very large sort of piece of aero on the top here, not only is that giving it good aerodynamics and obviously good economy for a car of this size, but at the same time, it's keeping this really nice rear screen in a nice condition rather than full of mud and dirt where it all gets covered. And even if it does do that, you've got this little wash and wipe on here. You'll notice that all around the back there is privacy glass. That all comes as standard as well. Again, during the summer, keeps it cooler, and it's also nice if you've got bits and pieces in the back and prying eyes can't see in there. It's also an infinity screen. I call it an infinity screen because it doesn't have any rubbers around here. So it gives that lovely pin sharp line all the way around. You've got LEDs at the back here, lovely big LEDs either side there. There's no fake vents or anything like that. It is what it is. It's a big car. Let's have a look inside and just click the button there. A little bit slow, the assisted tail lift on this car. However, when it does get there, it's really good because you can actually stand under here, and if it was raining, you'd be well covered, trust me. 240 litres, about the same size as a Ford Fiesta in the back here, but enough to get, you know, a couple of cases or all your shopping. There's some shopping bag holders here as well that you will notice. Before I put the seats down and show you how big this car gets, check this out. I really love this. Inside here, you've actually got the tools and bits and pieces that you're going to need to change your spare wheel. Now, your spare wheel is under there, hidden away. It's on a little, you have to unscrew it and drop it down, but you've got a full-size spare wheel with this car as well. Absolutely love it. Stupid kits that they give you, you know, the latex liquid stuff and the little pump thing doesn't exist in this car because it's big and it's American at the end of the day. That's what it was designed for. They're not going to mess around with that stuff. They get on with it. They jack it up and they change the wheel. That's exactly what this car's all about. Oh, one other thing I want to show you as well. The blind for the back here, now you can't fit it when the 7 seats are all up, but when you're only in the 5-seat mode, you can fit it across. You've got a nice blind. It fits inside. How nice is that? But I suppose being 2 meters wide, it makes it very easy to fit this in here. So you've got a proper blind. Look at that. How lovely is that? I'm not going to bother putting it all in, you know what they are. But I always say, if it goes in, it stays in. If it doesn't, we throw it. So we don't need to throw this one away because it fits in it rather nicely. I'm going to pop it back in there. There we go. And that will sit nicely in there. I can shut that back down, shut that over there. Now, check out this. Split rear seats here. So these are your 6th and 7th passenger in the back here. We're going to take a look at that when we do passengers in a minute, what it's like to sit in, whether it's comfortable or not. But watch this. You can just pop these down. I love the fact when you get to a certain point, the headrest automatically pops forward. So you just do that, let it go, and there you go. 813 litres we've suddenly gone up to. Massive. And if I put those 2 seats down as well, which I won't bother because I've got to run around all around the way around the front there. If I put them down as well, got nearly 2,000 litres. It's got to be one of the biggest in its class at the end of the day. But we were expecting that, weren't we? Let's go and have a look for the passengers. Check it out in the back for the passengers. But before we do these 2 seats, have a look in the back where the kids can go. And I say kids because really that is what this is going to be used for. Nice and easy. You can slip that forward there. There's a handle up here. Now, getting in and out of here, again, really, really easy. He says, almost falling over. I'm going to put this seat back as well so you can see exactly. Look at that. That folds right back as well. And so do these seats in the back. To be honest, I'm going to pull this back. Let me show you. Look. Show you how good it is. Right. Now, I know you can't see much of me, but this is very comfortable. This isn't for kids. I could actually sit in here and I'd be quite happy in the back here, if you know what I mean. It's got a double cup holder here. I'm looking for USBs. I can't find any, unfortunately. I would have liked to have seen a couple of USBs in the back here because if you are going to put your kids in the back here, they're going to want, going to have their computers and games and phones and all things. They're going to want to charge them up, especially on a long journey. But unfortunately, there's nothing in here. Oh well, never mind. But one thing we do like is the fact there's plenty of space. Now let's have a look what it's like for the real passengers, us lot, so to speak. Getting in and out of here is, ooh, missus. Oh, it's a good job I put clean on and underwear on today, for sure. Right, I love this. Check it out. This is just the best. Look at that. That is unreal. That is so. Oh, I'm a little bit excited about this, as you can probably gather. Gets massive panoramic roof as well. How lovely is that? In the centre here, nice armrest. Look, I almost feel like I could just do this. Oh, so nice. You've got your coffee in here, whatever, or your car, yeah, whatever. Really lovely. Obviously, there's no ski rack because, or no ski hatch, should I say, because that's a long way. I could probably just put skis in the back, it wouldn't even matter. Isofix points in here. Really lovely. No plastic covers or anything like that. But seriously, guys, just look how far back this goes. It's so nice indeed. Recessed seat belts. You've got the 60/40 split here as well. Independent heating. On this one, being the top of the range car, you also get heated rear seats as well, which is lovely. You've got USBs down here, plenty of those to plug in and do your charging and stuff. But just generally all round, I'm absolutely shocked, to be honest with you, with the quality of this. I think it's stunning. It's really soft, really lovely, airy, roomy, and yeah, I could spend a few hours in here, definitely. Massive windows, look at that. And also you get the blinds as well. Look, they pop up there like that. Probably easy if I did it the right way up like that. There you go. So if you've got young kids in here, you want to keep them, keep them cool during the summer. This is just really nice. This is oozing premium. But, at the end of the day, is it worth the money? Well, let's carry on, see if we think so. Before I jump in and show you what it's like for the driver, just a couple of little things to point out to you. You've got your standard window up and down buttons here, your lock and unlock button and your mirror controls on the door. But what you've also got are your memory seat settings here. And the reason I wanted to point them out is because on this particular car, being the premium level, you get a fully electronically adjustable seat. And not only is it fully electronically adjustable, it's also heated and cooled as well. It's that perforated cooled, that lovely cool air during the summer that you get. Really love that. Little panel over here, you've got your auto light button here. So you just set that to auto and it does all the lighting for you. That's your exterior lighting. Then you've got your heated steering wheel. Oh yes, you get a heated steering wheel with this car. To the right of that, right over in the far right, you've got your headlamp tilt button. And the reason for this is if you do tow something and the front of the car is slightly up, you can point your lights a little bit further down, which is really good. And then you've got my favourite button of all, which is the rear tailgate lift. And the reason I say this is my favourite button, because if you go shopping with your other half, they've gone in, they're coming out with all the bags of shopping, it's pouring with rain, you're sitting in here, you're watching a bit of YouTube, maybe watching me doing a review or something, and you don't want to spoil it, all you have to do is just push that button, tail lift will open, and he or she can load up the shopping accordingly while you finish watching what you're doing. Love that button. Just below there is a nice little cubby where you can put sort of valuable bits and pieces, like, pocket change, things like that. I don't think you get much else in there. You won't get a phone in there. And below that, you've got your fuel cap release button down there, and you've also got your bonnet release button. All nice and simply, all in order down there. Let's jump in, and I'll show you around what we've got up front here. Well, first up, I want to mention this car is keyless entry and keyless ignition. Now, I've put the ignition on, so we're all ready to go, so we don't have to wait for it all to fire up. What we do have in the center section here is a lovely panel that slides back like that. Inside here is a mobile phone, it happens to be my mobile phone, and in here is a wireless charging pad. How neat is that? So you can pop that on there and let it charge up. Stunning, I hear you say. Well, underneath it gets even better because there is a large cubby, and when I mean a large cubby, look at the size of that. I can almost get my whole arm in there. It's amazing. It comes with a little tray that you can keep knickknacks on, or if you don't want to charge your phone or you've got a second phone, you can pop that in there as well, and that will go neatly inside there, just like that. Pop that back down and it all falls out, as you can probably hear. I should have put it in a little bit better than that, but never mind. Pull that back over. It's just really nice and neat. I love the way it's been put together. You've got your management buttons here for your engine. So you've got your trail mode button, and that will set the car into a management system which will do your off-roading, so it'll select all-wheel drive basically. That's what it boils down to. You then got your EV button, that's your eco button, so you can push that and it will go into battery mode only, providing you stay under 30 miles an hour, which again is great. And you've got your traction control button. I can't see there's going to be much occasions when you're going to want to turn your traction control off, especially in a big car like this, but it's there nonetheless, so you can turn it on and off. You've got a mode button here with 3 modes. You've got sport mode, you've got normal mode, and you've got eco mode. Simple, up, down, you know, just select. As you select that, you get a change in the color on your dashboard here on your cluster, and that will go accordingly. I think it's white, blue and red when it's in the sport mode, and that just sort of lets you know which mode you're in, as if you didn't already tell. Double cup holder here. The only thing is, I've noticed there's nowhere to put the key in here. Well, there's plenty of places to put stuff, but when you put it in there, as you're going around, you know, can you hear that? It's going to slide about, so it's a shame. I would have liked a little place to put my key, you know, just pop it in there. I think that would have been nice. Anyway, you've got your double cup holder there. You've got two 2.1 amp USB chargers there, and you've got another USB to your right there, your normal USB. You've got a 12 volt adapter in there as well. Again, more space to put bits and pieces around here. You've got your central gear selector here as well, which is quite big, but nonetheless very easy. And you can also put that into a manual setting and use your flappy paddles here. I'm going to sit back and show you a little bit more on the steering wheel. I'll go more into this when we get out on the road, especially on the safety systems, which are over here on the right. On the left is your media control. You've got your telephone control on here as well, volume up and down, and then you've got an Ask Toyota button down there. You know that button that you push and your Toyota, or you know, I need a burger. Somebody direct me to a burger, and it'll find a local burger thing and direct you there. So you just push that in there, and that will do it all for you. Nice steering wheel actually. It's quite a large steering wheel. It's not chunky, but it's nice. To the right hand side, as I said, these are your driving modes. You can set different bits and pieces, your distance control, your lane keepy, things like that. You've got your cruise control setting here as well, so it comes with all of that. Then you've got your mode setting here, and that will change in the set. So it's not a digital cluster, it's analog with a digital center section here, and you can just scroll through your modes using your scroll button left and right there. Wiper stalk to the right there, lighting stalk to the left. Set it into auto, let it do its own thing. Perfect. This is where it starts to get really, really nice. This lower section here. Guys, check out those knobs. That's a decent sized knob. I always say, if you get in the car and you've got your gloves on and it's freezing cold, you don't want to be taking them off and flapping around, pushing your TFT screen, trying to find all your aircon control. They're all here. It is so simple. You've got buttons left, right and centres. You know, I've counted, there are 16 buttons on this car alone. 16, just up the front here. And now I've found 4 knobs as well. I mean, there's knobs and buttons galore. You've got your heated front seat buttons here as well, which is lovely. Now, a little bit of a moan on my behalf, and I'm a little bit jealous as well. The Americans get a 12-inch TFT touchscreen in this car. We get an 8-inch touchscreen. Why? What's the deal? Did they have a surplus of 8-inch touchscreen? Yeah, we give those to the English. They won't care. And we give the Americans the bigger ones because they like bigger things. I think it's a little bit unfair. So we end up with the 8-inch touchscreen. It's adequate, but it should have the 12-inch touchscreen, and then it'd be equal, wouldn't it? And I think it would be better because it takes that whole panel up then. It looks much nicer. Again, you've got so many places to put bits and pieces everywhere. Premium quality finish, love that. Glove box down here. Again, though, you do get the obligatory owner's manual. This one's not too bad. It's got about 160 pages in it. But guys, you know, manufacturers, listen, we don't need these anymore. Most of it is either built into, you can go into access your owner's manual on the computer, or just go online, go, you know, and find people like me who tell you where things are and how to do things. There's millions of us out there, and this takes up more room in the glove box. Perhaps that extra you're paying for that, you know, spare wheel could be taken up by not having to produce one of those books. Think of the ecology factor as well, all the paper and the trees and all that stuff. You know, at the end of the day, a little sort of thinking outside the box, which I think would really help. And thinking outside of the box, well, that's what we need to do now. More than outside the box, get outside of where we are at Player HQ here, get it out on the road, get this car out on the road and see what it goes like and what we think of the economy and all the other bits and pieces of this Toyota Highlander. So the first thing you are going to notice when you get out on the road in the Toyota Highlander is the great all-round vision that you get. The thin pillars here at the front are non-obtrusive. Got these lovely big mirrors as well, which again you can see through there. It just makes for the whole driving experience. And I think what adds to that as well are these lovely seats. They're superbly bolstered, nicely set up. I've got it in exactly the position that I like to drive in. And that's all because it's a nice electronically adjusted seat. Plenty of scope with your steering as well, loads of adjustability on that. I mean, all in all, it's a really nice place to be. Even out on these very narrow B roads, you're in a big car and you just feel like you're in total control of it as well. Brakes are superb on this car, and the actual turning space that this car requires, it will almost turn in its own length, which is incredible. The only thing when you're driving, you will find that you are hindered in the back by those seats from your vision through. But apart from that, I cannot fault this car out on the road. I'm really enjoying driving it. So let's talk a little bit about economy on the car and the various different modes that we've got in this car as well. So there are 3 different modes selections here. You've got your little selection button, which is quite easy to use. You've got the sport, you've got the normal, and you've got the eco mode. Now I'm currently in eco mode. It comes up on the dashboard here. I think I mentioned earlier when we were doing the upfront for the driver segment that it does change colour. You can't quite see it during the day. It's more visible at night. It's a kind of a sort of whitey bluey colour that I've noticed. It's quite nice. I like the fact it does change colour because then you can almost instantaneously see which mode you're in. Now in the eco mode at the moment, and we will consider this around town because I'm around the country lanes, not managing to keep a constant 70 miles an hour. I'm currently getting 28.1. Now Toyota actually claim this car should be getting around 39 overall. That's the combined mileage for your petrol. So 28.1 around town. I think we're going to easily hit 39 miles to the gallon when we get this out on the run. So there's your eco side of it. Then there are a couple of other bits and pieces that you do have on this car. You get an automatic limited slip differential with this car. And where that really helps is if you do have to do a little bit of off-roading. I wouldn't suggest this is the best car for off-roading. It isn't probably the best 4x4 as such. It's an all-wheel drive car. If you're looking for a 4x4, then obviously go for the Toyota Land Cruiser, which is a 7-seater long wheelbase off-road vehicle that is absolutely amazing. One of the best on the market. However, this is more of your SUV, so it's got to have, you know, both sides to the coin, so to speak. So if you've got to go off-road a little bit, maybe reversing a horse box, or you're picking up a jet ski, you've got to go down a runway or whatever, then this car will do that. You can put it into the trail mode. Now the trail mode is a computerized system that will detect if any of the wheels are not in contact with the ground. Now, if they're not actually touching the ground, the computer will detect that. It will lock that wheel up and apply the power to the wheels that are touching the ground, which is a really good system. That's obviously been developed from the Land Cruiser area, I would imagine. Can't count on that. You've also got your EV button down here. The EV button, as long as you're under 30 miles an hour, you can click that in and you will go instantaneously into battery power only. And it will run around for a number of miles before it obviously depletes, and it needs the engine to start it again. So as it can get some charge back in the battery. But overall, it's a very, very versatile vehicle. And for a large SUV, as I say, you know, 28, we're almost coming up to 29 to the gallon now. I think that's pretty good. So, as you would expect, the Toyota Highlander has a number of safety aids. First up, you've got the lane keepy, you've got the distance control, we've got cruise control built into this car as well. We've got the blind spot mirrors, which come as standard with this car, and I think deservedly so, because it's so long back there, you really do need them, especially when you're reversing. And speaking of reversing as well, you do get a decent reverse camera on this. You can upgrade it to one of those 360-degree cameras, which is mounted up on the roof as well, if you so want to do that. But I think the camera that it comes with is more than adequate. You've got the autonomous braking in town, so that's when it detects if someone's behind you and you haven't seen it, or if you're reversing out of a parking space and there's a car coming along the road. I think those type of things are sort of pretty much standard now in some of the top end cars that you're getting, which is good because it's going to avoid those inevitable little knocks and bangs that occasionally do happen. Another thing which I find a little bit irritating in this car is the oversensitivity of the impending collision warning system that's built into it. It does seem to be very, very sensitive indeed. So even if you're driving between parked cars, if one of the cars is slightly further out than another, it almost thinks you're going to hit the car and it starts warning you with a loud siren sound and a red flashing on the dashboard. But apart from that, I think this car is superbly safe, especially if you're going to be driving a family about. I think one of the other things that I really love about driving this car is the Toyota Skyview panoramic roof. Look at the size of that, and it does actually open as well. You've got all the buttons up here to control it. Another thing is you've got to have a good sound system in a car like this, and this car is no exception to a decent sound system, trust me. It's got a surround JBL system in it, so you've got the speakers up here in the pillars, speakers down, there's speakers everywhere. DAB radio, you've got the Apple and Android, the mirroring, as well as the wireless Apple Play as well. So you can really blast some tunes out in this car when you're on a long ride. So some good news on the warranty on this car. I was quite shocked to find out that it's actually 5 years or 100,000 miles, whichever comes first. That's a pretty good warranty, to be honest with you. It's almost as good as Kia's 7-year or 100,000 mile warranty. You get a 12-year anti-corrosion warranty as part of the package, 3-year paint warranty, and you also get 5 years roadside assistance. Again, you know, I think this is all adding up and making this a very viable purchase option. Additionally to that, you can extend your warranty up to 11 years and completely unlimited, but I suggest you have a little chat with your salesman when you go down to the Toyota showroom about that one. Not sure if that still exists, but I did actually read that. Sounds too good to be true, doesn't it, really? 11 years, unlimited mileage. I'm sure that would cost a fortune. Anyway, worth inquiring while you're down there. One thing, the only drawback with it is that you cannot get an extended warranty on the hybrid parts of this car. Again, that's something you need to have a chat with your salesperson when you're down at the showroom. Service plans, you can get a prefixed set service plan. Again, worth a chat on those. Servicing on this car every 10,000 or 1 year, whichever comes up first. So suggest you keep to that, obviously, because that will also keep your warranty and won't invalidate it if you don't get the car serviced. So there you have it, guys. That was and is the Toyota Highlander. It's big, it's bold, but it's not as brash as I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be far louder and more in your face, but it isn't. It's quite sedate. It's actually a really, really nice car to drive. And the only way you're going to find out how I feel about it is if you go down and get yourself a test drive in one of these. And I think you're going to be very pleasantly surprised. As for the money side of things, well, also bear in mind you have a lot of other choices out there, including one in particular, which is the Land Cruiser, which is the four-wheel drive sort of kind of seven-seater version of this car. A little bit of a different car, but another car that you should consider having a test drive in. I'd highly recommend that. You've been watching me, AJ, on the Player YouTube channel. I hope you've enjoyed this review as much as we've enjoyed filming it, because we do have a lot of fun when we're out on the road. Don't forget, like, subscribe and comment. In the comment box, all you've got to do is put in a question or whatever you need to know. If you want to make a statement about something, one of the team will always get back to you if it is a question. Just wait for them to do that. I'd ask you a little favour here. If you could give us a thumbs up, I'd really appreciate it. Don't get paid any extra, don't get a bonus or anything like that. What we do get is a pat on the back from the bosses and the sponsors to say job well done, because if you thumbs up, that means you liked what you watched, and that means we've done a good job, and that keeps us in a job. So I'd really appreciate that. Don't forget, subscribe and leave the bell sign unchecked, because you'll get regular updates on all the content that we put up on this YouTube channel. And it's a lot, because it's not just cars like this. There's all types of cars, there's boats, there's interviews, tons and tons of different stuff. And the reason for that is we are part of the Player organisation. The Player is a 220-page bookazine for men. A bookazine is a magazine with a hardback cover that comes out on a frequency. Now, before you switch off, this is something you can get for completely free of charge. Zero, zilch, nada. It's yours. It's the online version of that magazine. And all you've got to do is go to www.theplayer.co.uk. Hang on a minute, I shall pull it in now. It's going to come up down there. I'll leave it up for a few seconds. Head over there, go to the top of the page, and you will see register. Just put your name in and your email. No data capture. I don't want to know your age. I don't know what day you were born, how many kids you got. I'm not interested. Just name and email. That's it. Then you can either download it or you can view it online. Viewing it online is easy. You just turn the pages using the mouse or your finger if you're on an iPad or any other type of Apple device, for example. It's absolutely brilliant. There's everything in there. There's golf, there's cars, there's boats, there's jet skis, there's motorcycles, submarines, there's interviews, there's food. It just goes on and on and on. It's everything us guys love, all wrapped up in 220 pages every 3 months. And as I say, it's all yours for free. All you've got to do is register. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you next week with something different. This is AJ signing out.